The story of the color orange is a strange one because, for much of human history in the West, the color orange simply didn't exist. People saw the hue, of course, in sunsets, autumn leaves, and robin breasts, but they lacked a specific word to pin it down. Here is the journey of how a fruit gave a name to a feeling, and how psychology eventually caught up to the flame. 1. The era of yellow-red. Before the 1500s, if you were living in Europe and saw a bright carrot or a flickering flame, you would describe it as geolured, Old English for yellow-red. Linguistically, orange was a homeless color. It was treated as a messy middle ground between the heat of red and the light of yellow. Because it lacked a name, it lacked a distinct cultural identity. In many ancient cultures, it was associated simply with the transition of the day, the sun setting, or the transition of the seasons, leaves dying. 2. The fruit that changed language. The shift began with the Sanskrit word naranga, referring to the orange tree. As the fruit traveled from India through the Middle East, Persian narang, and into Europe, Spanish naranja, the word traveled with it. By the early 16th century, Portuguese merchants were bringing sweet oranges from Asia to Europe in bulk. The fruit became a sensation. Suddenly, yellow-red wasn't specific enough for this vibrant, exotic import. People began referring to the hue as the color of the orange. Eventually, the was dropped, and orange became a standalone noun and adjective. 3. The psychology. From sacred to secular. Once orange had a name, humans began to assign it a psychological profile. This profile evolved into a fascinating contradiction: the spiritual and the earthly in the East. In Buddhist and Hindu traditions, saffron and orange hues became symbols of the highest state of illumination and holy fire. It represented a turning away from the ego. In the West, because of its ties to the fruit, orange became the color of gluttony and abundance. In medieval art, it was often used to depict the robes of those enjoying the physical world. The modern psychology of vibrance. Psychologically, orange is unique because it combines the physical energy of red with the cheerfulness of yellow. Stimulation. Research suggests orange increases oxygen supply to the brain, producing an invigorating effect and stimulating mental activity. Visibility. Because it is the most visible color against the blue of the sky or water, it became the color of safety and warning. Life vests, cones, prison orange. This created a psychological link between orange and urgency. 4. The Impressionist Revolution. In the 19th century, the psychology of orange took a radical turn thanks to painters like Vincent van Gogh. He used orange not to be realistic, but to create agitated emotions. He famously used blue and orange together, complementary colors, to make the orange appear to vibrate off the canvas. There is no blue without yellow and without orange. Vincent van Gogh. This era solidified orange as the color of unconventionality and creativity. It wasn't as aggressive as red, but it refused to be as passive as yellow. The legacy today. Today, orange occupies a strange psychological space. It is the color of Halloween, transition, death, the color of high-visibility vests, survival, and the color of cheap branding meant to suggest friendliness and affordability like Home Depot or Nickelodeon. It remains the most extroverted color, a hue that began as a fruit and ended up as the international symbol for energy, safety, and the unconventional.